Welcome back, everyone, to the deep dive. This time, we're tackling digital communication.
Oh, it's a beast, isn't it?
It really is. But we've got this great article. It's called 8 erreurs à éviter en matière de communication numérique.
Okay, so 8 mistakes to avoid in digital communication. I like it. Straightforward.
Yeah, it gets right to the point. And it's packed with stuff that everyone can use, like whether you're already a total pro online or just starting out.
You know, what struck me about this article is how it gets back to basics.
Oh, yeah. Like it reminds you of those fundamental things that can slip your mind.
Exactly. Like that first mistake they talk about, jumping into digital communication without really knowing, like, what you're aiming for.
Oh, I know. It's so easy to get caught up in all the new stuff.
Like shiny new platforms and tools.
Right. And you totally forget to think about what you're trying to accomplish. Like, is it brand awareness? Or maybe getting more leads?
Yeah.
Or creating a community?
Like, you wouldn't start a road trip without knowing where you want to go.
You'd be driving around aimlessly.
Exactly. This article, it reminds you to plan even in the digital world.
Okay, mistake number 2. You ready for this?
Hit me.
Neglecting brand consistency. The article uses this puzzle analogy, which I thought was pretty clever.
Oh yeah, the puzzle. So imagine all the pieces fitting together to make a whole picture.
That's how your brand should be across all your online stuff, right?
100%. And it goes beyond just like the logo and colors.
Oh, right.
It's about your voice, your
Yeah.
tone, how you interact with your audience. Think of big brands like Nike or Apple.
Yeah, you know exactly who they are online, no matter where you see them.
Exactly. That instant recognition, it builds trust. All right, mistake number 3. Ready for this?
Lay it on me.
Content. Or rather, forgetting how important high-quality content really is.
This article emphasizes that it's not just about good content.
It's got to resonate with your specific audience.
You can't please everyone.
Exactly. The article, it warns against trying to talk to everyone. Because you know what? You might end up actually speaking to no one.
It's like trying to be everything to everyone. You end up being nothing to anyone.
Right. You really got to know your audience and what they need, then give them content that fits. And using different formats helps too, you know?
Yeah, like text, video, infographics. It keeps things interesting.
Right. Like you wouldn't want to eat the same thing for every meal. Variety. Okay, ready for mistake number 4. This one's a biggie, especially nowadays.
Okay, hit me.
Misusing social media.
Oh, there are so many ways to mess that up.
Right. The article focuses on like 2 big ones. Neglecting your social media platforms.
Which is like throwing a party and then ignoring all your guests.
Yeah, exactly. And the second one is giving in to temptation.
Oh, I know where this is going. Buying followers.
Yep. Might seem tempting for a quick boost, but it's just not authentic.
Like those fake followers. They don't care about what you're doing.
Right. You got to build a real community with valuable content and genuine interaction.
Like building real relationships, not just inflating numbers. Speaking of connections, mistake number 5 is something people might not think about much.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Forgetting about SEO.
Oh, SEO, search engine optimization.
Yeah, the article uses this visual of a beautiful website that no one can find, which, I mean, that's a shame, right?
Total shame. You could have amazing content, but if no one knows how to get there.
It's like having a store in a secret alleyway.
SEO is like putting up signs so people can actually find you.
And you got to think about keywords, right? Making sure people can find you when they search online.
Yeah.
And mobile friendliness, so important.
Right. Most people are on their phones these days. The article, it actually says that the majority of internet users are on mobile devices.
So if your site doesn't work well on a phone, you're missing out on, well, most people.
Exactly. Okay, mistake number 6. This one's about customer service.
Okay, customer service, got it.
It's about how you handle online comments and reviews, especially like the negative ones.
So that can be tough.
The article says, respond to everything, be professional, be empathetic, show you care.
I once saw this company on social media. They had this negative review, but they handled it so well.
Like they took the time to address the problem, apologized, offered a solution.
And the person who wrote the review, they ended up becoming a loyal customer.
It's amazing how you can turn a negative experience around. Okay, mistake number 7. This is about something a lot of people hear about but might not totally get.
Okay, what is it?
Data security.
Oh, right, data security. Important, but can be kind of confusing.
Right. The article mentions HTTPS.
So what exactly is HTTPS? A lot of people have seen those letters, but maybe don't know what they mean.
HTTPS is a way for websites to communicate with browsers, like securely.
Hmm.
It encrypts data so hackers can't steal information, like credit card numbers or personal stuff.
Like locking your front door. You don't want your house to be vulnerable, and you don't want your website to be vulnerable either.
Exactly. Online security builds trust and protects everyone.
Okay, last one. Mistake number 8. Ready.
Hit me.
Forgetting to, well, kind of check how you're doing.
Oh, you mean analyzing the results of all this digital communication?
Exactly. The article talks about using things like Google Analytics.
Data's so valuable. It tells you what's working, what's not.
It's like having a coach who can analyze your every move.
Google Analytics, it can tell you about website traffic, engagement, and more.
So you can make changes and make your online presence even better. So we've covered a lot. 8 common digital communication mistakes to avoid, all thanks to this insightful article.
It's like a roadmap, right?
But what's really interesting is what comes next.
Taking this knowledge and actually using it.
That's exactly what we're going to do in the next part of this deep dive. We'll figure out how to apply all this stuff to your own digital life. All right, so we've talked about those digital communication mistakes and how to avoid them. Now, let's actually figure out how to use this stuff. We've got all this great info from the article, 8 erreurs à éviter en matière de communication numérique. But how do we make it work for us?
That's the million-dollar question. Knowing something is one thing, but actually doing it, that's where the real change happens.
Okay, so let's go back to that first mistake. No clear goals. What can people actually do to make sure they're starting off right?
Sometimes it helps to zoom out a bit. Think big picture. What do you want your online presence to be all about? What's the ultimate goal? Then you can break it down into smaller steps.
Kind of like planning a road trip. You wouldn't just start driving randomly.
Exactly. You'd map out the route, figure out the stops, set those daily goals.
And just like a road trip, those digital goals should be SMART, right? Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound.
Boom. SMART goals. Love it. Okay, let's say you've got your goals figured out. How do you keep your brand consistent across all those different platforms? It can be a lot, right?
It can be overwhelming.
Totally. This is where a brand style guide can be a game changer. Think of it like your brand's rulebook. It lays out everything. Logo, colors, voice, tone, even the kind of images you use.
So everyone on your team, everyone working on your stuff, they can all be on the same page.
Exactly. No more guessing games. Plus, it makes it super easy if you're working with freelancers or, a whole team. Everyone knows the rules.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, what about content creation? The article was really big on creating that high-quality stuff that actually resonates with your audience. How do you do that consistently? It seems tough.
First things first, you got to know your audience. Who are they? What are they into? What are their problems? What kind of content do they already like?
It's like that saying, people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel.
Oh, I love that quote. You want your content to make people feel something.
Right. But it's not just about feelings. It's about giving them something useful, something they can actually use.
Totally. What problem are you solving for them? What unique perspective can you offer? Think about that. And remember, variety is key.
Like different formats, right? The article talked about that. Text, video, infographics, even podcasts.
Right. Everyone learns differently. Give people options. Keep things fresh.
It's like a buffet of knowledge. All right, social media. We all know buying followers is a no-go. The article was pretty clear on that.
It's like putting on a fake smile. Sure, you might trick some people for a little bit, but it's not real,
And it won't get you anywhere in the long run. Those fake followers aren't actually engaged.
Right. Focus on real connections, real conversations. Build a community of people who actually care about what you're doing.
Now, SEO. I think a lot of people get intimidated by SEO. It can seem kind of technical, right?
It can be, but the first step is just understanding the basics. What is SEO? How does it work? Then you can start with the simple stuff.
Like keyword research. What exactly is that?
Basically, figuring out what words people are using to search for things related to your website or your business. Then you use those words in your content.
So like speaking the search engine's language.
Exactly. And then there's on-page optimization. That's all about making your website as search engine friendly as possible.
What does that even mean, search engine friendly?
Using keywords in the right places, making sure your site loads quickly, and this is super important, making sure it works well on phones.
Which is so crucial because the article pointed out, like, most people are browsing on their phones now.
Exactly. Google and other search engines, they love mobile-friendly sites. So if your site isn't optimized for phones, you're missing out.
Like closing the door on a whole bunch of potential visitors. Okay, let's talk about feedback.
Yep.
The article was big on responding to everything, even the negative stuff, and doing it professionally and with, like, empathy. Why is that so important?
It shows you actually care. It shows you value your audience. Even if someone's leaving a negative review, if you respond well, you can turn things around.
It's like you're showing potential customers that you're a business that listens, that you care about making things right.
Right. You could even win over that person who left the bad review, turn them into a fan.
Okay, data security. Let's break this down. The article mentioned HTTPS. What is that exactly?
So HTTPS is like a super version of HTTP. HTTP is how websites talk to browsers, right? But HTTPS adds encryption.
So it's like a secret code that protects information.
Exactly. Imagine sending a super secret message in a locked box. Only the person with the key can open it. That's HTTPS.
And it's especially important for websites that handle sensitive stuff like credit card info, right?
Oh, absolutely. HTTPS protects everyone, the business, and the customer. Okay, last thing. Tracking how your digital communication is doing. The article mentioned Google Analytics. Can you tell us a little more about that?
Google Analytics sounds scary, like all those numbers and graphs.
It can seem like that, but it's actually super helpful. It's like having a microscope for your website. It tells you everything about your visitors.
Like where they're coming from, what pages they're looking at, all
Exactly. You get to see what's working and what's not. And the best part? It's free.
It's like having a whole team of data analysts working for you 24/7. All right, so we've gone through all these steps, these practical ways to avoid those 8 digital communication mistakes. But here's the thing.
Now it's your turn to actually do something with this information.
That's exactly what we're going to talk about in the next part of this deep dive. We'll figure out how to make all of this work for your specific goals and needs. All right, so we've uncovered these 8 common digital communication blunders and figured out how to steer clear of them. But let's make it real. How can you, listening in right now, actually use this info to, boost your online presence?
That's where the real magic happens, taking all this knowledge and making it work for you.
Exactly. So think about what you're doing online right now, whether it's for your business, a personal project, or even just your social media. Where do you think you might be falling into those traps we talked about?
Maybe you're creating awesome content, but you haven't really thought about SEO.
So it's not reaching as many people as it could.
Right. Or maybe your social media, it feels all over the place. Like it doesn't really represent you as a brand.
Like a beautiful garden hidden behind a fence. People can't fully appreciate it.
Exactly. That's where this article, 8 erreurs à éviter en matière de communication numérique, really helps. It gives you those practical steps, those actionable things you can do to improve.
So let's say you realize you haven't been paying enough attention to data security. What's a simple step you can take, like right now?
Check if your website is using HTTPS. It's a quick thing to do, and it shows your audience that you care about their privacy.
What if you've been, ignoring comments and reviews? You're missing out on connecting with people.
You could start by setting aside a little time each day, even just 15 minutes, to engage with those comments and messages. It'll make a difference, I promise.
It's all about those small, consistent efforts, right? They add up over time.
Absolutely. It's like that compound effect. Small actions, repeated over and over, they build momentum.
And remember, the online world, it's constantly changing.
That's what makes it so exciting. But it also means we got to stay flexible, keep learning new things.
Like being a student forever, but in a good way. There's always something new to discover.
And that's what makes it so fun. You never get bored. So, as you continue on your digital journey, remember this. Knowledge is power, but taking action is where the real transformation happens.
Use what you've learned today and apply it to your own online world. Experiment, try new things, find what works best for you.
And most importantly, have fun with it.
We hope this deep dive has given you the tools and the inspiration to, really rock your digital communication. Until next time, happy communicating.